Hello everybody and welcome to a new series that I'm trying out. This is Audience Forts, or Community Forts. It's a working title currently. The concept of this show is I'm taking saves that people share on my Discord and kind of doing little fortress tours and commenting on things I like and things I don't like or things I would do differently. This fortress is a fortress called Ropegorge. It is of the slight government, the remarkable Picts, and the civilization of the waning doors. Something that is worth noting right away upon staring at the embark location is it's about halfway across the world from its original embark site, which isn't necessarily a problem. It's all fine and dandy to sometimes try and colonize other parts of the world. However, I do kind of question this because there is plenty of dwarven locations close by and could have been part of a closer location. Not that, like I said, this is a problem. However, a mistake that I often see newer players making is they settle somewhere that is completely cut off from their original faction and then wonder why they're not getting migrants. Fortunately, this fortress hasn't fallen for that problem, so it is not an issue. This fortress was made by my Discord user and friend of the show, Semtexagon, who has been around for quite some time. And like I said, this is a pilot episode, so I'm open to feedback on format and any other ideas that you want me to do here. First thing that's worth noting is if we click on the Civilizations button, we appear to be at peace with quite a few people. We are at peace with Grungis, a kobold civilization, who exports petty annoyance, and we export death. Quite glorious, frankly. We are at peace with the Brushed Nut, Giggity, an elven civilization. We're also at peace with the Vermilion Confederacy, a human civilization. Lastly, we are at peace with our home faction, thank the Lord, or thank Armok, should I say. And we are agreeing to export, agreed to export tanned hides and toys and importing steel bars and various other materials. Lastly, our local government, of course, we're friends with, and we are at war with the local goblin population of the Permanent Poisons. Permanent indeed. Jumping down to the fortress itself, it is this glorious, massive, surface construction of an outer wall with many fun little things that are worth having a peek at. One of the first things that really stood out to me about this fortress is these upper bedrooms that are surface level. They're quite beautiful. Shoutouts to this little dwarf here who loves to stockpile these quarry bush roasts. I mean, they're delicious, aren't they? Taking real quick note, these bedrooms are all claimed, which is lovely. And as we move down through these multi-layer bedroom stacks, which, like I said, I'm a huge fan of, they go all the way down to the surface. Something I would have done if I was building bedrooms like this is I would have stacked down one layer as well and kind of dug a trench around and then also built into the ground, but that is, of course, completely arbitrary. We also have this lovely multi-stacked library structure with a beautiful multi-layer sloped ceiling. Massive fan of this as well. I think it looks beautiful. One of the biggest things that has been changed about this version of the game versus previous versions of the game that I'm a massive fan of is the fact that you can actually build on top of stuff extraordinarily easy, making the act of building upwards significantly less tedious, and this is a massive improvement on previous versions of the game. If we look at the outer walls here, we can tell that it has a lovely 1Z level moat that goes all the way around, as well as a overhang, making it impossible to climb. Granted, these trees are climbable, so that is very much a weak point in this fortress where things could climb these trees and vault into the fortress itself. But there are these lovely little fortifications all the way around the edge. If I was building this, I would have doubled up on these fortifications because creatures can go sideways and some overly zealous dwarf in a defensive situation may just jump through these walls and end up in your moat. So that's just kind of something that I would like to point out there. Now, if we look over here at this library, it is called the Desks of Books, and if we examine it ever so slightly, it does allow visitors and has a good number of books, including copies, as well as a good number of scribes for copying books, as well as a scholar for writing books. And if we move up, as you can see, it's again got the same battlement structure. And as we go down, there is also another zone down here, also assigned to this same library. This is possibly one of the most gaudy libraries I've seen in this version, at the very least, that's been sent over to me so far, and I really, really like it. I will note that this fortress runs at a rather low frame rate on my computer, probably due to just the sheer size of the thing, but it's still glorious. I do actually seriously wonder about this bookbinding out here that is sitting in a pool of cave toad blood. I would love to know what happened there. Looks like there's a thief that has just arrived, but I'm sure that's a common sight in such a glorious fortress. We have these lovely forges indoors and outdoors with a massive stockpile of wood down beneath, probably, I would assume, for making blocks for smelting items. If we move up ever so slightly, we can see some crafts dwarves workshops in the upper floors of this small room, as well as storage for a few items. And then if we go up a little bit higher, we can see it's full of barrels. I've never really done a fortress like this, and this is one of the reasons I love this game is it kind of has that Minecraft element of like, wow, everything is different when every single player plays it. Now we have a couple of guild halls here, which again, an interesting little design. I tend to make my guild halls a lot larger, but if you peek at this real closely, we can see that there are some really fancy little items in here. We got obsidian floodgates, we've got weapon racks, and just enough stuff to make sure that these are a high enough value. If we take a peek, as you can see, Grand Guild Hall. So glorious, frankly. We've got wooden doorways as entrances and exits, and for getting up and down the floor, we have these slopes. I'm actually kind of surprised the dwarves were able to get... I was kind of surprised when I was first looking at this that the dwarves are able to get up these. However, because they're on an angle, they're able to just simply slide up this way and up onto the upper level. I would use stairs personally, but that's, I guess, just old habits die hard, right? Down here, we have what looks to be zones. However, when you hit the... When you, upon closer inspection, you'll quickly realize that these are all temples to individual gods right up to the very end. And they're of varying values, some of them higher, some of them lower, and some of them have some pretty nice little musical instruments. Shout out to this stray raven that's hanging out in this one, someone's pet, I would assume, as it is tame. As we scroll around up here, we do have a bunch of offices, all outdoors and beautiful. I really like this setup. This is really cool, actually, because I don't do a ton of above ground structures. I'm generally like, my fortresses are like, yep, it's 4 trapdoors in the ground and I'm going to build underground. I don't often do these kind of massive cities, so this is a really cool experience for me. We got some fireflies on the surface, lovely. And then over here we got some general stockpiles. Let's have a peek and see what's inside. Let's just take a peek. We got armor. We've got what appears to be weapons and components. And then down on the lower layer here, we have more furnaces, as well as stockpiles for different materials and what appears to be bar block bins. So various different resources there, as well as some outdoor stockpiles for overflow storage. More bedrooms, of course, in the same up-down variety. And then the top of the bedrooms are filled with items. Now, leaving stuff outside doesn't cause them to degrade. However, it bothers me. I kind of wish that these had like some sort of covering on them. I really, really, really like the multi-layered roof on this library, and I would love to see something like that on these other buildings. Although I'm assuming that the reason that these flat block houses are like this are so that you can build up naturally without being obstructed, but I do wish that instead of just having open stockpiles, they had some sort of roofing on them. Down here, there's, again, more rooms like this. Personally, I would be putting trap doors on these stairs during construction and locking them just to stop random animals from climbing in. Shoutouts to the lungfish on the roof. As we go down, we can see more stockpiles. This is our clothing room. And then over here, we have this lovely storage room with various different items inside, and of course, barracks down beneath. As for this squad, let's just select a dwarf down here. We have the champ, who is the fortress champion, mostly due to royalty, who seems to have been through a lot and has definitely been exhilarated after a sparring session. Their religion is the Mint Faith. Sounds festive, frankly. And of course, they are a militia commander in this government. They do have a lover and a good deal of family. I kind of love this. This is cool. Let's continue scrolling through. So once again, that was the clothing area. Then we have a bunch of farm plots, where we're planting fisherberries, prickleberries, and rope reeds for clothing, alcohol and the like. And then over here we have another spot with some obsidian flooring, which is just jet black. Like, it's almost jarring how black it is. And then we have our trade depot. And then, of course, a danger hallway for incoming invaders. Very important. And then more bedroom blocks, which I think we've already looked at. So now that we've more or less covered everything, in the center here, we do have a millstone with a beautiful little windmill on top. And then down beneath, we have a couple of kitchens. So if we scroll down, we can see our food storage and then more storage. And, of course, some more spaces for our dwarves. This is our this would be your tomb for your royalty. Of course, you don't actually need to give it to them unless you actually want to once they've died. And then lastly, we have this lovely little jeweler's workshop filled with gem bins around it. Now, this fortress isn't just a surface fortress. It do go down. So down here, we do have a whole bunch of open coffins with, of course, this beautiful obsidian flooring and these small rooms. And now the reason that you see a lot of people doing these kind of small 1x1 rooms with a coffin in it and a door is so that it's much easier to multi-select them. And I wouldn't change that at all. And of course, a beautiful Rutherer taming bin with bars in the entrance. And as you can see, they do have tame Rutherer childs. For those of you wondering how to tame animals, you just have to have multiple generations of children. And that is the easiest way to, multiple generations of tamed or trained animals in one spot, and then their kids, it will usually be tame, and then eventually your faction will begin to know them, and then if you embark on a new fortress in that same world, you will have access to embarking with that animal tamed. Now, this part's kind of cool, actually. I never do this, so it's neat to see. We've got these big ol' spots where they've been mining, but look at these ramps. They just kind of go. I'm so used to just, building stairs, and it's always been my habit to just build stairs. Like, they do connect to stairs, but for the most part, it's just ramps. It's just ramps all the way down until spots where they need to stop. It's kind of neat to the point where I kind of want to do this at some point. And then we can go down, 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 down. And then there's this fun room with more trap sequences. Of course, for spoiler reasons. Down here, we have even more stairs, and even more stairs, and even more stairs through these lovely encrusted walls of gems. And we go even further down until finally, seeing all of this adamantine, glorious and beautiful, clustered around the gems. So the premise of this series is that I would offer some criticism or feedback, and really I have none. Aside from that, I personally would really like to see some coverings over these roofs, because a lot of things, a lot of stuff in Dwarf Fortress is just kind of a personal preference, right? And for me, it feels weird not actually having a roof, especially on this building as well. It feels weird not having the arched roofs, especially because this library has such a beautiful one. And I think roofs are a very important part of above ground fortresses. And aside from that, the only other thing would be double up these fortifications, or alternate them with wall pieces, just so that nothing could jump through. And lastly, make sure you clear out some of these trees on the outside, and maybe do what you've done at the outside here, where you put down a little road or flooring all the way around, just to stop them from growing right up and next to your fortress, because things can climb them and vault the walls. This has been my first ever community fortress. If you would like to submit yours, join my Discord. There's a room called File Sharing, or Dwarf Fortress File Sharing. Just make sure that you at me and let me know that they are okay to be shown in a video. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to see more videos like it, there's tons on this YouTube channel, and I'm going to start making a playlist of these. And if you want to download the save file, well, it should still be on the Discord. It's called Ropegorge, made by Semtexagon. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.